each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Sober Monday. Here we are. Good afternoon. I'm only like 3.5 hours late. Not much. Not much. All right. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. Right. So, but yeah, I hope you're having a good day. I don't usually do any work today, but here I am working. Not here, but yeah, I was working. Hello. Business meeting. Business meeting, and just about what we're gonna do next. I think Trudging Together is gonna be able to do some cool stuff here soon, and people that want to join, be a part of. So, but today we're talking about how recovery is the ultimate pay it forward. The ultimate pay it forward. And by ultimate, I mean ultimate. However you want to take it. However you want to take it. Well, let's do this. Let's look up the definition for ultimate. Definition for ultimate. Being or happening at the end of a process, the finale. The best achievable or imaginable of its kind, right? You know, that's why peer support's so big. One person passing on to another what they did, and I'm sorry, I'm eating. I forgot to eat all day, and I started to get hangry. I'm like, well, if I go live and I'm hangry, they're really not going to appreciate that. So, so here we are. Let's get to the next portion. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. It is time for Dion's Daily Funnies. Let's just do jokes for kids here. There we go. 200 jokes corny jokes for kids. All right. How can a frog jump higher than the Eiffel Tower? The Eiffel Tower can't jump. That's how. What do you give a scientist with bad breath? Experiments. Dun dun. One more. How did the mobile phone propose to his girlfriend? He gave her a ring. All right. This is from today's daily reflection. I'll eat the rest. I'm going to take one more bite, and then I'll eat the rest after, because it's one of the rudest things to do is to eat while alive. All right. Looks like we're in the 12 by 12, page 151. Let's go and read the reflection for today first. The only thing that matters is that he is an alcoholic who has found a key to sobriety. These legacies of suffering and of recovery are easily passed among alcoholics, one to another. This is our gift from God, and its bestowal upon others like us is the one aim that today animates AAs all around the globe. 12 Steps, 12 Traditions, page 151. The strength of Alcoholics Anonymous lies in the desire of each member and of each group around the world to share with other alcoholics their suffering and the steps taken to gain and maintain recovery. By keeping a conscious contact with my higher power, I make sure that I always nurture my desire to help others, thus ensuring the continuity, as a much different word, continuity of the wonderful fraternity of Alcoholics Anonymous. Oh, so is chat not working? I'm gonna double check YouTube here. Make okay. Nobody said anything over here either. All right, just making sure. Sometimes it doesn't work. So we're gonna go to 151, and it looks like there's gonna be tradition 5. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Now, we read this the other day, and I'm not going to redo it, but we got, right, this was the guy that, the conceited Irishman, right? Well, I think you're just a conceited Irishman who wants to run the whole show, right? So what we were talking about here, and that takes away like half my show here. But we'll work through it. Yeah, no worries there. We'll get to it. None of us got here alone. Someone gave us hope when we couldn't find any. And who was that person? It was probably somebody in the rooms. It may not have been even AA. Not everything's AA. It's just my preference. I was actually just talking with somebody, and they're like, Dion, I don't go to AA. I want to help families. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, yeah, yes. See, that's what's great about trudging together. We need everybody. I've worked really hard so that trudging together usually has one answer, and the answer is usually yes. Right? I don't want to create a job and then go look for the person. I prefer the person to come to me, and then we will create the job. Right? Because what's going to happen is you're going to log into trudging together. This is where it'll be eventually. And whatever you're looking for, you're just going to answer a series of questions. It's going to go out and match those questions with the right trudge mentors, bring them back so you can decide who you want to meet with. Huh? Not everybody that's a trudge mentor is going to be a recovered alcoholic. No. Some people might be overeaters, and some might maybe heroin, family stuff. I mean, a lot of people are affected by this disease. So that's what's cool about trudging together. It can be malleable. It can change. It can be what it needs to be to fit that person. The whole point is to meet people where they're at, find out their needs, and provide them with the resource. It's all we do here. But there's a lot to that. There's a lot to that, right? So welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm your host. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch, right? So when I got here, first time, and both times I was assigned a sponsor. Second time I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for a sponsor, but we're not going to cover that. All right. And neither one of my sponsors and I, we didn't become friends afterwards. We didn't keep talking after we were done with the steps. But the man that took me through the steps, I still send him a message every year on my birthday, and I tell him what I've kind of done for the year, and that I'm still sober. I let him know, and I do that so that he knows that what he did was worth his time. That's why I do it. I'm grateful. I will forever remember what Paul did for me. Absolutely, I will. I will remember. And it's hard considering he's marked up my big book. He always liked to point at my big book with his pen, so I got all these little dash marks. have these dash marks throughout, right? So for us, it's a natural thing. Once we recover, once we are a recovered alcoholic, which just means you've completed the steps, you get to use your brain again. Doesn't mean you're cured. Okay. It is easy, and I've settled my past. It is easy for me to pass this along to other people. Do you think experience or education gets more people sober? I'm going to let you think on that, right? But that's the beauty of this deal. The only way to keep it is to give it away. Even let's say you decide that you want to become a Trudge mentor. I'm just going to use it as an example, right? Okay. Well, one of the questions we're going to ask you is what kind of service work are you doing? Yeah. I'm not going to ask you if you've been sponsoring. That's to AA related stuff. But what kind of service work do you do? What do you give away that was freely given to you? Because that's more important than trudging together. Right? Just like when I'm talking to people, I got clients. Great. Do you have sponsees? No, I don't sponsor. Move along. Sorry, but move along. You're missing a piece of the program. You're not freely giving away when, that needs to come in my book anyway. For Dion, that needs to happen first. But I've also been around long enough to know that it needs to come first for everybody. Or what happens is you slip because sobriety has lost its priority. And if money is the payment, then money is the payment. You won't get another payment. There will not. You might get some dividends for doing a good job, but you are paid for it. So in your mind, that dividend has been cleared, right? Unless you didn't get your paycheck, and then you're going to claim that you didn't get your paycheck, aren't you? See? Right? So recovery, just like we do one day at a time, recovery is done one person at a time. Yeah. This is an individual process, right? Your recovery doesn't look like my recovery. It probably does in a lot of places, but you don't think the way you, well, even then you do kind of think, because we're alcoholics. You're a different person with different needs. You've had different experiences in your life. You might be a different gender, so your perception is different than mine. You've been through other things, right? So therefore, my recovery will get you drunk. You got to go find your own, even though a lot of them are in line because it's yours. It doesn't belong to me. Right? A couple of weeks ago, I let somebody know, hey, I'll be your sponsor. We met once, and a couple of days later, he sends me a message, and you tell he was having a hard time. He's like, I decided to go a different route with the sponsor. I wanted to let you know. I hope we can still be friends. First of all, we were never friends, but I get what he's saying. Friendly, sure. And I wrote him back. I said, good for you, man. Good job. Sounds good. And he wrote back. He's like, thank you. Because he wasn't expecting that. And I said, it's your recovery. I'm just proud of the fact that you're taking charge of it. Oh, no, I ain't being sponsor. No, I don't have any ill feelings towards that. I don't need it. I don't need it. Because I accomplished what needed to be accomplished. He went and got a sponsor that was right for him. Isn't that what matters? Now, if I was being paid and I was dependent upon that, oh, well, I don't get to eat next week if this guy decides to find another person. See, then my attitude would change. It would change. It's just kind of how it works, right? So we do it one person at a time. Is we don't do speeches, but we do it by example. Everything I do is by example. And I've got to be a good example. There are a lot of people watching me, right? Now, I don't feel pressured by that. I still, and I appreciate that you still allow me to be who I am with what I have. And yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. So here's the thing. Rent is due. Right? You remember that grace? Remember that obsession for drinking that you had that nothing in this world seemed to be able to take care of? Well, that was the grace of God, and rent is due, well, every day. Right? But the cost of rent in this case isn't extremely high. How do we pay our rent? Well, it starts with willingness to make the world a better place, willingness to make yourself a better person, a better example. That's really the payment. Then God's never really asked for something that I can't give. He knows better than that. You know. So when we reach out, we don't just save others, but it keeps us sober. Did you know that as a sponsor, I have a 100% success rate? Why? Because I'm still sober. I'm still sober. I cannot get anybody else and keep them sober. I couldn't even get myself sober. So therefore, I have a 100% success rate. Hi, Amber. It's good to see you. I do help a lot of people, but I don't count that stuff. Well, I don't count it as I don't keep track of what my success rate is. I used to. I'm going to tell you, well, I had to when I was working in detox the first time. You had to keep track of your success rate because that's how we got paid. So I kind of had to keep track of it. Right. So the miracle multiplies when it moves forward. It dies if it doesn't. Right. You ever get those memes where it's like, if I can't think of a good one, honestly. I can't. So the miracle multiplies when it moves. It dies when it sits still. Right? Goes back to resting on our laurels, making sure that we're putting action into today, doing the things that we need to be doing. So, sorry, just thinking here. And I wasn't thinking about this. So what happens when we do this? Well, the promises start coming true. Doing the work, we're giving it away, and those promises are going to start coming true for you. Absolutely, they will. So the promises aren't rewards. They're the results of living unselfishly. It's a result. The promises are dividends. They're the extra pieces of all the stuff that you've been doing all day. And it's usually good stuff. In the beginning, it's not going to feel that way. You'll come around eventually, and you'll start to see it a little differently. That's what happens, right? So freedom, peace, and purpose. When we make freedom, peace, and purpose come when we make someone else's pain matter. Yeah, that was just something that we were kind of talking about in our little business meeting. That there's just a lot of people out there that are feeling unheard. So we see a need, mostly with younger people. And by younger people, I would say 30 and younger. They don't feel like they're being heard. So we're working on something because Trudging Together isn't just going to help the alcoholics. No. One of the first things we're doing is getting into the schools. Prevention, working with the young people, teaching them life skills and what they need to do, right? Because when you grow up with an alcoholic father or mother, they don't teach you how to change a tire. They don't teach you how to do the dishes or vacuum the floor. They're too busy doing other shit. And you have to learn that stuff on your own. How to sew, how to cook dinner, these types of things. I think And the schools aren't teaching these things anymore, right? So life skills, right? Hey, we got to help everybody that we can, right? It also depends on who joins and what their skills are too. So freedom, peace, purpose. So we can't pay back the people who helped us, but we can honor them by helping the next one. And as a sponsor, you're going to get thanked all the time. Every time you end with somebody I'm going to tell you something. Somebody that is doing the work, this is how because you meet for however long, this is how your conversation will end. Thank you so much for doing this. I so appreciate it. It's that right there. If you're not hearing that, they're not really doing the work because then their life isn't changing. So you're going to be able to gauge it off of that. And you're going to hear it a lot. Okay? And your only answer needs to be this. All I ask is that you pass it on to the next person. That's how you can pay me back, by paying it forward. Because then I know that it was worth my time. That's what I'd like to know. And you are certainly worth my time. So, in a way, I already got what I wanted. The rest of it is the dividend. It's what we ask. I just ask that you tell it to the next person. Not much, huh? So that's recovery, the ultimate pay it forward. Not too long. I've been doing a lot of talking today, so I'm gonna wrap it up. So thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and keep on.